So here we go, as promised, my custom figuarts Black Spidey. Now, just quickly going over, the details and basically just the details because sculpt work is pretty much the same as the classic, red and blue No Way Home kind of styled suit from figuarts, but there is one thing that I did change, which is the torso, because I actually used and took the torso from that CT Toys figure that I did a review of. So, but yeah, that CT Toys figure was very small, but here's some photos to show what I pretty much did to it. So, pretty much what I did was I took the CT Toys torso, and I basically kind of, split it open. I did the same for the classic, just regular official figure, and just swapped the torso joints out. And, the reason I did that as opposed to, basically just doing a simple, just switch out off the ball joints and all that, was because the actual joint system on the inside of the CT Toys was, scaled down and, it didn't exactly fit. So I kind of had to swap the joints out. Luckily, it all actually fit together pretty perfectly because if you couldn't tell, that CT Toys figure was actually shorter in scale than actually in scale. But, doing this and switching it with my secondary body, my second figuarts Toby, it made it, more in scale and actually scale well. So yeah, this is basically the figure here. I did repaint it in black. As you can see, it is a repainted black. I do actually have custom heads coming in for this figure specifically and the OG figure, but I will show what I did with this head. Just a simple kind of repaint, of course, with the black, and I did the web lines with the chrome paint pen. Not really huge on the silver webbing. I might try and see if I can maybe do a gunmetal gray if I can get the paint for it. But yeah, I mean, this figure came out pretty well in my opinion. Not too bad. It was a kind of a work in progress for a while, because I really did want not just a figuarts Black Spidey, but just a good Black Spidey in general, because there has not ever been a good 6-inch Black Spider-Man figure from Spider-Man 3 ever, or like at all. Because when Hasbro had the license, they made little small Spider-Man figures. But yeah, the joints and everything, they work pretty well. There's no paint rubbing, because most of it is just dyed with the black dye. Then I just paint over some of the surface areas. As you can see, some parts got missed, but I might re-go over those. But yeah, I mean, it's painted pretty much all the way through. Most of it is dyed mainly with the joints, because I can't paint the joints. So I dyed them just so they were black. The inside torso joint still is red. I didn't paint that up at all. Didn't feel like I really had to because it was mostly hidden. But yeah, I mean, I got pretty much the whole figure covered in black, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. I'm glad the way it turned out. I'm so glad that the torso swap actually, did work. But yeah, I mean, it came out pretty well, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way it looks. Now, comparing it to the, classic, red and blue, just to kind of show you that, yes, it is also in scale. This is not a size comparison just yet, but as you can see, they are in scale, and they are quite alike in a lot of areas. Just, obviously a color change, and the torso is different just because, obviously I need the, Symbiote Spider-Man logos, and the CT Toys provided a really good kind of technically custom chest piece for that. So you see they are head-to-head with each other, so they do work in scale, and they are the same size, so it doesn't look off-putting that I got a very small Black Spidey. But yeah, I mean, they worked out pretty well. The joints are a little bit tighter on my black suit Spidey rather than my red and blue, but I mean, they look really, really nice together. And just kind of going in and taking a look closer at the faces, of course. I really don't like the shape of these heads. They just look like beans to me. But don't worry, there will be custom heads coming in from a very, very, very good community customizer. But as you can see, the logos are different. There's some slight color variation, of course, because I can't exactly match the color of the original. But as you can tell, the logos are a lot different. The red and blue logo lines up a bit better. The CT Toys torso kind of didn't exactly line up the best. But, I mean, when you're, like, kind of posing it around, it's not exactly the most noticeable. So, to me personally, it's not really too huge of a deal to me that the back logo doesn't line up. So, I mean, it's fine for me. As long as it just looks nice and does what I wanted it to do, I think it came out pretty well for what it is, and I thoroughly do enjoy it. Now, I'm just going to go over the articulation just a little bit quickly, just, because I've already reviewed this, figure before. This is just a custom, but of course, the head can move all the way around, looks down about that far, up about that far. He does, of course, have the butterfly joints. The arm can go up about that far, does have the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, the swivel and hinge on the wrist right there. And of course, for the torso, the range of motion is not limited due to the torso swap, so it has just about the same amount of articulation, of course, side to side here too as well. So nothing has changed for the most part, and just showing it off here, it can move quite freely. The leg can kick out about that far, kicks back pretty much all the way if you can make it, but I'm not going to because it likes to get stuck because of the paint. He does have a thigh swivel right there, and of course he does have double jointed knees that bend in pretty decently far, and the foot can go down about that far, up about that far, and he does have a toe bend right there. So he is just as articulated as the original figure. Nothing's changed. Nothing chips off. Everything is as perfect as it should be. And it is pretty much the perfect black suit Spidey 6-inch figure I've ever owned. And much like the articulation segment, the accessories segment's going to be obviously a little bit rushed through, just because it's the same hand accessories you get with the original one. Difference is just a color change. But I will mention a couple things with some of the accessories. But of course, it's just the painting process of these things was annoying. Man. Because basically I had to paint them all black and then put a top coat on it, a matte finish, and then I had to do all of the web lines, and those were not easy to do. So the hands do look a little on the sloppy side. Some hands look better than others, but overall it was just very, very difficult to do, and I definitely do not want to do web lines ever again in my life. I will leave that up to, actual customizers. I wouldn't exactly say I'm not an actual customizer. It's just, it was just difficult. I'll leave it up to more people with better materials. Let me say that. But of course, I did, do some small shortcuts, just because, it is my personal figure. It's not, I'm not doing this as a commission for anybody other than myself. So I took a little bit of shortcuts with my own figure. Some of the web lines I didn't paint on the mask just because I couldn't get into like every single little crevice. Because as you can see, there are a lot of folds and all that. So I just got a lot of the web lines that really matter that would pop out, especially with this mask piece right here. And as you can see, it does, still able to hold the mask and everything. No paint rubbing or none of that. But I did just make sure to only paint certain web lines that were important. Now, the one accessory that I did some actual sculpt work on was his unmasked head. So, as you can see, this is the Unmasked head. I did do black hair, just because when Peter's hair was wet in Spider-Man 3, it was black. But I did actually sculpt kind of emo hair, sort of, on the one Unmasked head sculpt. At least the more pissed off sort of looking expression, or kind of neutral expression. Just so that way I could have a Bully Maguire head, just to, do a little bit of different with it, opposed to the, regular release one. And this was not exactly the easiest to do. This was my first time sculpting, like, more realistic hair. But, I think it came out pretty well. I mean, it blends in as good as it possibly could. And, of course, here's the regular red and blue head, as opposed to the Bully Maguire head. And I think it honestly works pretty well. I basically just went with along with the sculpt of the actual hair that was on the head to begin with, and just kind of followed the flow of the hair. But, to also still make it look, realistic to a point where it would look a bit real. Maybe I made it a little too emo, but I did the best that I could. And I think it came out pretty well. I did not do a coat, like a top coat matte finish on the hair, just because it would have made it a little bit shiny, considering the type of paint I'm using for the black. So it would have made it look a little bit off and a little too close to the suit, and I wanted some kind of a difference in texture and variation with it, so I just kind of kept it as is. But honestly, I think it came out pretty well, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. And just taking a look at the figure itself with the Bully Maguire head on, man, this is just a dream come true. Because I've always wanted a Sam Raimi black suit Spidey 6-inch figure that was fully articulated, had a lot of accessories, and just looked perfect in my opinion. And I think I made just that. Now, I might do some color, tweaking every now and then, maybe, or, in the future, just to kind of maybe give it a little bit more of a realistic look from the movie. But I think for right now, I'm happy with this, and I've been wanting to make a video on it for a while, because this has been like almost a couple years in development trying to figure this thing out. But let's go to a pose test. So I hope you enjoyed that little post test, but I think it's about time we get into the scale of this guy, because just to wonder if you guys did end up swapping out the CT Toys torso to make this, just to kind of give you a idea of the scale. So of course he is pretty much neck and neck, eyes to eyes with the regular look of the figuarts Spidey. Of course it really was only just a simple torso switch, so it was bound to just be the same height. But just in case, if you guys wanted to do this, it is going to be the same height, so there'll be nothing to worry about then with scale. It'll be perfect. Just would require quite a bit of painting, and dyeing the figure, and of course this Toby likes to just fall over all the time. But yeah, it will take quite a bit of painting, and obviously patience too as well. but that is it next to the figuarts regular Spidey. And here he is next to my custom Marvel Legends Spidey, which also I am getting a custom head for too as well. So I will be updating that Marvel Legends Spidey. And, well, this Marvel Legends Black Suit Spidey was the first video I made on when I did kind of my comeback to this channel and a little bit of a rebrand. But, yeah, that figure is pretty nice, although it's seen some age. And, of course, here is the Marvel Legends Sandman, just in case if you did have the No Way Home Sandman figure and you wanted to, see what he would look like next to him. And I honestly think this works out pretty well. It doesn't look too bad, so it works. But, of course, another kind of comparison here is a figure that I'm still not exactly sure if I'm done with yet, or if I want to add anything to it, or say I'm just finished with it. And that is my Marvel Legends Custom Venom 3, not Venom 3, oh my god, my bad, my Custom Spider-Man 3, Venom, that's it, my Topher Grace Marvel Legends Custom Venom. So you can see how they look next to each other. Not exactly the best scale, but then again, I have no idea what to do with this Venom just yet. He looks a little too skinny in my opinion, but then sometimes I think he's okay. I don't know. It's a progress. But, of course, bringing in the Marvel Legends movie Venom, just in case you guys had this specific Venom, just to kind of see how big it is next to the figuarts Black Suit Spidey, and honestly, it doesn't look too bad. So with that being said, let's get into the final thoughts. So, final thoughts for this kind of, custom that I did. It was, I'm not going to say it was fun, because it is just a simple color, change. It was actually quite difficult, because the first time I did it around, I didn't know about dyeing figures, so I just painted it up, and it just did not look good at all. And plus, I didn't have the CT Toys figure because that didn't come out during the time when I painted this up. And but when that CT Toys figure did come out, that was also just a challenge, just to swap out the torso piece. I didn't even think it was going to work, but it ended up working, and I'm happy with how it had come out. And again, I'm getting a custom head for this because this head is just temporary, but I did paint that up too as well. Also, getting the web lines was really annoying, but the most annoying part was just the torso itself. But I did have to dye the figure black, which I don't know if it will hold for a while or a long time or whatnot. And dyeing the figure actually gave some implications and some problems, especially in the leg area. Their legs are a little bit stiff. And I just really don't want those to kind of chew up on the plastic, or chew up on the paint, actually. But he was pretty fun to make, and I'm just glad I actually have a, decent 6-inch black Spidey. And I cannot wait for that custom head to come in. I will do a video on the custom heads when I do get them in. But yeah, I mean, this figure just looks really nice here, and I don't know, I'm just happy that I finally have a black suit Spidey in this, 6-inch form. It's a simple repaint if you don't have a CT Toys figure and you're okay with the improper logos. If you just want to simply repaint the red and blue Spidey suit black with the silver lines and everything like that, it'll be fine. Like, if you're okay with that, but I was not okay with it. I did do, obviously, the Bully Maguire hair. That was a pretty interesting experience to make, too, as well. But unfortunately, the only thing that was really hard about this figure to do were the hands. Painting the hands were a pain, but it still came out great. But that's it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.